Welcome to How Hard Could It Be, where I make a YouTube video then go through some of my challenges in the process. Hey, did you look at the thumbnail, the title card, and maybe even the description on this video? Yeah, I bet you did, because you're a smart YouTube user that knows how to do all those things. This is a blatantly contrived attempt at including some Warframe content into my Spider Month. Am I sorry? Nope. Am I gonna do it anyway? You betcha. Why? Because it's my channel and I make the rules around here. The Rocket Racer is a Spider-Man villain type person. He's not really a bad guy, just gets mixed up into some unfortunate circumstances. Showing up in the late 70s and continuing on into the 80s, the Rocket Racer got mixed up in crime and eventually went on to go on to the straight and narrow. He also showed up in the 90s cartoon as a troubled youth, and at least this version knew to wear a damn helmet, even if it wouldn't help much when nearly getting mushed by an external elevator. He has a rocket-powered skateboard and uses mini rockets to fire at the web slinger. Personally, I'm thinking this adapts pretty well for Gauss. He's a pretty fast boy, and his two signature weapons, the Exceltra and Icarius, both fire mini rockets. So let's talk about all this fancy gear. First, some fashion. To make the Rocket Racer, we're gonna splash around some yellow and red and call it a day. We'll use the Syrinx chest plate for the angular bits for his usual front, and the Saturn VI pauldrons and knee plates for some extra safety padding. Is anyone going to get the reference? Most definitely not. But this is for me, not for you. We'll do the same for our guns and call it a day. Then mods. Here's my two Gauss builds at current. One for pure speed. Here I've got Rush, Armored Adrenaline, and a mix of duration and balancing some of the other stats. Just for some speedy, balanced gameplay and to be as fast as possible. My other build is a Power Strength and Vigilante set. This is to help hit like a truck and make the abilities more useful, and to benefit his major rocket gun, the Exceltra. So what's the point of Gauss? Be fast for the memes, put Volt mains on Suicide Watch, and make Nazar wish he had some other gimmick other than slide. His other abilities are minorly useful. He's got some tanking ability with his 2, which also sucks actual energy out of the bullets you take. It's like having Rage on without actually needing to take a bunch of health damage. His 3 gives some status effects and doubles his damage when you combine the 2 effects. Cold on tap, heat on hold, combined to have a blast with this Warframe. I'm not sorry. Then you get to go into overdrive on that speed. Boost all your stats that might be affected by some sort of speed. Reload, fire rate, holster speed, and melee speed. All gets to go faster. Go figure. It's almost like going fast is this frame's whole gimmick. How does this play out as a whole? It's certainly fun to mess around with. It synergizes moderately well, and Gauss certainly has enough energy for you to be able to use all these abilities. For overall design, he's really fun. Does he have any longevity though? I think he burns out just about as fast as his dash ability does, but you may find yourself going back to him just for the rush you get when you blow from one end of the planes to the other while holding a single button. And if you want to complain that Rocket Racer just needs to have a skateboard, K-Drives just exist. So there you go. Get one, color it yellow, and that's all you really need to do, honestly. Okay, that's cool and all, but...
And I'm here to ask you one question, and one question only. Explosions!
The Exceltra, a primary full-auto micro-missile launcher, is quite enjoyable. The weapon takes to crit like a rocket through the air, and greatly benefits from anything crit-related you'll put on it except maybe Argon Scope. It fires fast enough that critical delay probably won't be much of an issue. Throw a little viral on this bad boy and you'll cut the enemy health in half and blow them into the ceiling, if you don't already kill them outright due to the crit damage. You'll also get to reload faster when you're running, which if you're playing Gauss and probably have max out sprint speed anyways, you might as well be doing that a lot. The Icarius on the other hand is a lot slower of a weapon but has its own quirks. Its incredibly high status is easily boosted by 60/60 mods, along with the sizable bonus that Sardoms already get from their ability to get an additional 180% multi-shot. It also gets a redonkulous amount of damage and seeks to the enemy. Shoot down a hallway and watch everything in it explode. Personally, I suggest using that lovely mod, Primed Heated Charge, to hit for massive damage. Magnum Force also has very little to no negative effect on this pistol, so might as well cram that onto there for an extra level of force multiplication. In fact, it might even be beneficial, allowing a wider spread of rockets to seek different enemies from the same trigger pull. Further testing may be required. This equipment explodes out onto the screen and feels fantastic to play around with. When it comes to kits, Gauss is one that is fun to juggle while the weaponry patches the offensive holes in his abilities, and his buffing ability patches holes in the weaponry's soft stats. Oh, and if one Spider-Man villain isn't enough for you, I've got a second one. Slide. While technically he'd be better represented by Nazar, I'm not covering him right now. I've also got a Spider-Man for y'all. This is a Spider-Man 2099 comic where that version of Spider-Man winds up in cyberspace and gets a neat little virtual avatar that looks like this. There you go. There's Spider-Man. With that out of the way, let's talk about some challenges and such. The first challenge? Justifying covering my favorite game while covering my favorite superhero. There's more overlap here than you might think. Valkyr can basically web swing. You can web up enemies with Korra. When it comes to symbiote analogs, you can't get much closer than Nidus. Speaking of symbiotes, Banshee is perfect as Scream. Even has dangly hair, even if it's not nearly as much. So Gauss is a rocket racer? Fair justification. Don't like it? Make your own YouTube video dedicated to chewing out the inconsistencies like whiny maggots do about every other YouTuber. Now you might notice something else. The audio is different. I'm writing this script before recording, but hopefully you can notice and appreciate that the audio is a bit better. We got a new microphone at Ches Hikib, a nice little snowball.
Woohoo!
It looks like a globe and has the word blue plastered across the front, so much like my viewer counts lately, my audio is getting blue-balled.
Oof.
Glorious. If you got to the end, farm disruption, speed rockets like they're going out of style, red line like it's a drag race, and smash into walls. We swear.
It just works.